Yo, it's your boy Casual Rail with the Silent A podcast. And man, we back with another one and a quick one at that. And for this one, we talking about getting off the canvas. Getting your ass off the canvas and bringing the fight back in 2025. Maybe took a loss in 2024. Maybe got your ass knocked down in 2024. But getting off that canvas and bringing the fight back, bringing the scrap back, and showing that you are the man or woman in the fight game in boxing. For this one, we're going to talk about Anthony A.J. Joshua versus Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Can we finally get the matchup we all been craving to see at least 8 years ago? Who was the baddest man? Who was the hardest hitter? Who was the biggest puncher? Who had the most charisma? Who had the most style? Who is that man? Can we finally get that fight in 2025? We've been waiting 8 years to see it. Both men took losses, big losses here in 2024. Who has the charisma? Who has the spirit? Who has the attitude? Who has the integrity to get up off the canvas this year in 2025 and make this fight happen? I think it's clear that the fight would happen under the zone with business with Turki Al-Sheikh to make it happen, to see which one of these two men can actually get back into fight standards and fight contention. Who has the mentality to actually get back in the fight game? He will challenge them both, obviously with the checkbook and, with the possibility of getting their name back in contender status at least. Can we finally see this fight happen in 2025? It's the perfect opportunity, as we all just seen here at the end of 2024, I believe in October. Anthony Joshua got brutally knocked out and beat by Daniel Dubois, who right now to me is the man in the heavyweight division, only under Usyk, obviously, who was the undisputed champ, or now I guess unified champ, because he had to drop the IBF or whichever belt he had to drop for the Tyson Fury fight. But Usyk is clearly the man in the heavyweight division right now, but some believe Daniel Dubois got robbed. But anyway, that's a whole nother video. But with that said, Anthony A.J. Joshua got smoked, got beat, got knocked down, got knocked out clearly by Daniel Dubois, and really got manhandled in that fight to us. It showed levels. It showed the spirit that Daniel Dubois was on at that time. I'm not going to necessarily get into the skill set there. I believe Anthony, came in too cocky, implemented the wrong game plan, especially for his chin, to take on a hard puncher, hard hitter like Daniel Dubois. I think he lined himself up perfectly to get beat, and honestly, in our opinion here, perfectly to get embarrassed. He's still a warrior, still a fighter, and took the loss on the chin and showed great attitude at the end. But still, you could see it in the lead up to the fight. He thought he was levels above Daniel Dubois. He had something to prove. Knew all the rumors back in the day that Daniel Dubois had stopped him in sparring. I believe that got to Anthony Joshua, that he had to show that he is the man. I think he was still riding off that Francis Ngannou knockout, but that showed here that, hey, brother, that was an MMA fighter. We talking boxing. And then we all know Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder coming off 2 embarrassing losses. Well, I'm not going to say embarrassing. One, just we don't know what the hell kind of loss to Joseph Parker. And then another, now I would say, semi-embarrassing loss to your boy Zhang. I believe that was in July or June, over the summer anyways, 2024, where he got knocked out. I mean, not similar to Anthony Joshua in terms of how they got knocked out, but both got knocked out brutally. And at the end, both clearly didn't know where they were, as Zhang clipped Wilder coming in with the left hook and spun him around and just laid him out. And Wilder had no clue where he was at. And it was clear during that fight that Wilder's boxing skill, boxing level just still isn't there. Still hasn't upgraded. And he still has the power. You can see it. You can see it coming, but so could Zhang. And that was all she wrote, right? So either way, both fighters coming off of knockout losses, hitting the canvas. Which one, if not both, can get up and make this fight happen finally. There's really no excuses. Now, we have heard the rumors of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua potentially getting it on for 2025. It's a big money fight in the UK, but to be honestly, the Deontay Wilder AJ fight would be even a bigger fight. And hell, AJ could probably do both in the year 2025, to be honest. But him and Wilder, man, that's history. There's been so much divide between the US, the UK, which one of their fighters, which one of their punchers was one of the best at that time, who was going to be undisputed at that time. And obviously, neither one of them made it to undisputed. Both got beat. Both got beat by the men who made it to the undisputed eliminator, or whatever you want to call it. But between Usyk and Fury, Usyk beating AJ and Fury beating Wilder. And then obviously Usyk becoming the undisputed champ and the man in the division. But we still have unfinished business as far as I'm concerned, especially from a casual standpoint of, well, who the hell would have won between AJ and Wilder? Who really packed the hardest punch between these two individuals? Was the skill set of AJ too much for Wilder? Possibly. It's definitely showing, as you've seen the likes of Zane beating him and then Joseph Parker outboxing him. But was AJ's chin, or is AJ's chin, sturdy enough to withstand the onslaught of a punch from Deontay Wilder, especially a good punch? I believe the best Wilder we ever saw was in the Tyson Fury Wilder third fight, where they got it on. The reason I say that's the best, because if you watch the first rounds, 1 through 5, when he clipped him in round 4, Wilder was actually boxing, changing levels, changing things to what Fury couldn't see. He was jabbing to the body, hitting to the body, coming up, confusing Fury a little bit. And honestly, in that fight, Wilder really just ran out of stamina. He doesn't throw a lot of punches in this fight, first of all. I honestly think he does have stamina issues, especially as he's gotten older. It's clear by his punching output, and you can see it in the Joseph Parker loss, that he just wasn't letting his hands go enough. But in that fight, either way, he was actually boxing well, and shout out to Malik Scott implementing a decent game plan to make that fight a little bit more competitive, definitely, than the second one. So could that version of Wilder show up again, gain a little weight? I really do think 215 is just too small for him. I believe a mid 220s is, and especially, brother, work on the legs, get your legs right, because his leg movement is atrocious. Wilder's leg movement, and that's not making fun of, size of legs. I know that's genetics, but it's clear by how he moves around. His footwork, his foot speed is atrocious. It's slow. He stumbles a lot without even being touched. And I know so much for the foot placement, so he can deliver certain shots. He likes that wide stance, but you could still have that wide stance and move a little cleaner, a little less clumsy than you do. And honestly, I believe it's all in the legs, and there's clearly no leg workout, cardio, you name it. Like, they are not working on his footwork. And I believe that's a detriment to him, because he, as a smaller heavyweight, he should be moving around. Anyways, we're getting a little off track, but still, can that version of Wilder, a little bit more skill set, a little bit of learning, come in and actually make it competitive against Anthony AJ Joshua, whose chin, something that can't be fixed, is clearly cracked, suspect, as it's always been, but his power and skill set has carried him so far along. He's beaten some of the greatest fighters in the division. He's taken some losses, obviously, to Usyk, got beat by Daniel Dubois, and then obviously got beat by Andy Ruiz years ago, which kind of set us off course for Wilder and AJ getting it on. But to me, it's still an interesting fight. It's still something that we would like to see. It's still, yeah, they're both chinny. They both gotten beat. They both gotten cracked. But it's unfinished business. We're going to be sitting here 10 more years from now and asking ourselves this question, or potentially asking ourselves, like, man, who would have actually won that fight at that time? Especially back then when they're in their prime. Who would have won? Who would have had the bragging rights between the US and UK? I believe it's still a good fight. I honestly believe both fighters could get off the canvas and make this fight happen, definitely with the right amount of money. There's really no reason now. There's no excuses. To be honest, I believe based on history, based on the things that we saw, I'm a Deontay Wilder fan, but I think it was clear that the PBC and his team didn't want him to fight Anthony Joshua, especially back then. It's pretty clear by how he's fared against higher competition who can box well and have power. But with that said, I think Wilder still has that dog in him. If he can find that dog in him again, it's clear that he would make this a competitive fight. I do believe it'll be a tough fight, mid-round knockout. I'm talking rounds 6 or less, probably between rounds 4 and 6, a knockout between either man. Both can go, both can get knocked out, which makes this fight even more interesting. Now, you've seen them both vulnerable. We've seen them both on the canvas. You've seen them both get knocked out. You've seen them both lay leather, knock others out in the meantime after the losses as well, with or without a belt. It's an interesting fight, an interesting scrap. It could be a main event, or it could be a definitely co-main event to a bigger fight. And maybe that could be the Usyk versus Dubois rematch, and then you have AJ versus Wilder getting it on. Who knows? With Turkey and DAZN over there, they're making it pop. They're making it go. But with that said, we talked a little long on this one, but getting off the canvas, 2025, let's see Anthony AJ Joshua and Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder finally get it on. Finally sound the scrap. Finally sound the bragging rights. Let us know what you think. Comment below. Subscribe as always, man. It's your boy Casual Real with the Silent A podcast. Till the next time, peace.